Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving my MLB DraftKings picks for Saturday, August 19th. Before we get started with looking at this slate, hopefully you guys hopefully you were able to get Max Scherzer out of your lineups. And it's really crazy how that whole thing went down. I was getting ready to record my video about the time that he got scratched. I usually record my videos about 8 or 9 o'clock the night before. And with the way that I record, I use my phone to record my voice. I use my phone as a microphone. And in order to record the voice, you can't have any notifications popping up while you record, or it'll stop the recording. So most of the time I'll turn my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I won't get any notifications while I'm recording. And literally, I was getting ready to start recording my video. I had Do Not Disturb. I was getting ready to press it, and literally the notification popped up that Max got scratched. Literally the second as I was about to click Do Not Disturb. So the DFS gods were really looking out for me. If I would have clicked the Do Not Disturb button just a second sooner, I wouldn't have seen the notification, and I wouldn't have been able to get Kluber in. So the DFS gods were really looking out for me last night. Hopefully Kluber does come through for us. I did tweet out, literally the second Max scratch, I tweeted out that you need to pivot to Kluber. So if you are following me on Twitter, hopefully you were able to see that tweet in time. Hopefully you were able to get Max out of your lineups and get Kluber in there. Even if you weren't able to get Kluber in time, hopefully you at least were able to get somebody from the 10 o'clock games and you didn't take a zero. But yeah, it was definitely a crazy night last night. It was crazy how all that stuff went down. But that's enough talking about yesterday's slate. Let's go ahead and be looking at this Saturday slate. We got 11 games today. Pitching options today are rather weak in my opinion. We do have 3 guys over 10K. Got Steven Strasburg making his first start off the DL, going up against the Padres. Got Zack Greinke against the Twins, and we got Chris Sale against the Yankees. I do like all 3 of these guys, but Strasburg does worry me here. This is his first start off the DL, so we don't really know what to expect from him. We don't really know how deep he's going to pitch into this game. So I think I'm not going to be on Strasburg today, especially not at 11,000 when I don't know how many pitches he's going to throw or how deep he's going to go into the game. Maybe if he was like 9K, then maybe I would consider him. But at 11K, I would just pay up for Greinke if you're going to pay that high. So I don't think I'm going to be on Strasburg today at that price. Obviously, the matchup is great, but I think there's too much risk. You don't really know how deep he's going to pitch into the game and if he is actually fully healthy. So staying away from Strasburg today. And then Chris Sale is the guy I want to talk about here. I do obviously really like him in this spot. He has absolutely torched the Yankees this year. I believe he's faced them 3 times, and through 3 games, he has averaged like 34, 35 DraftKings points. So he has definitely dominated this Yankees team. But I think it is really hard to get Chris Sale in today, especially at 14,100. It was pretty easy yesterday to get Max in at 14K because we had Matt Moore as a decent SP2 option at only 5K. But today I don't see any really cheap SP2 options. The one guy that I did like for SP2 that was relatively cheap was like 6,500, something like that, which was still a lot of pay. When you plugged him and Sale in, that only left you with like 3,600 remaining, and that's really hard to work around today. There's not a ton of value that I'm seeing, not a ton of value hitters that I really like today. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get to Sale today. I just don't think there's enough value on this slate. So I'm going to be off of Sale today at that price. The guy I really like today is going to be under Sale, and that's Zack Greinke at 11,700. Getting a matchup against the Twins. I really like this spot for Zack Greinke today. There are a lot of strikeouts throughout this Twins lineup. If you look at their strikeout rate, in the last 14 days, the Twins have been striking out a lot versus righties, striking out 23.6% of the time. So Greinke definitely has some upside here. Greinke, this dude has been really solid this year. He's been pitching like an ace. If you just look through his DraftKings game log, he has been very consistent, has a ton of games with over 30 DraftKings points, a lot of games with over 20. You rarely see him in the teens. He has a couple games here and there, well, he'll get like 15 or 20, but other than that, a lot of 30s from this guy. He does have the upside. He managed to put up 32 DK points in his last game out against Houston, which was a really tough matchup. So I'm not really scared of Greinke here. At 11,700, I think that's a reasonable price tag. I do like the discount you're getting off a Sale. I definitely think you're going to need those savings today since there isn't really a ton of value hitters that I like. So I do really like Zack Greinke today as my SP1 at 11,700. I love the discount off a Sale, and I think Greinke definitely has 30 DraftKings point upside here in this spot. There are plenty of strikeouts throughout this Twins lineup. So I like this spot for Zack Greinke today as my SP1 at 11,700. And then for my SP2, I rarely do this, but I'm actually going to be targeting the other pitcher in that game. I don't think I've ever targeted two pitchers from the same game, but I think this game is going to be a pitcher's duel. I think both of these pitchers are going to pitch well. So the guy that I like at SP2 today is Jose Berrios for just 6,600, getting the matchup against Arizona. I really like Berrios today as a cheap SP2. This guy is way too cheap in my opinion. He is not a $6,600 pitcher. I know Berrios has been really bad as of late, but I don't think that's going to continue. I think he's going to bounce back and pitch well here. This is a really good spot against Arizona. Arizona, they are a team that does struggle on the road. And if you look at their strikeout rate versus righties in the last 14 days, they're almost leading the league in strikeout rate. They're striking out third most, right behind the Brewers and Mets. They're striking out 27.9% of the time versus righties in the last 14 days. So Berrios has a lot of upside here. Berrios is a very good strikeout pitcher. He does have good strikeout stuff. So he is a guy that I really like today at SP2, especially at just 6,600. I think that price tag is way too cheap. He's too good of a pitcher to be this cheap. We've seen this guy look very sharp to begin the year, and he has had some trouble as of late, but I think he is going to get things going here. He will be pitching at home today. He does pitch a lot better at home. Through 7 games this year at home, he's averaged 21 DraftKings points, whereas on the road he has only averaged 11 DK points. So I do like Berrios today as my SP2 for 6,600, targeting the same pitcher in that Arizona-Minnesota game. I think this game's going to be pretty low scoring. I think it is going to be pitcher's duel. I think both of these pitchers are going to pitch well. And since you are targeting two pitchers from the same game, there is a really good chance you'll wind up getting a win from one of these pitchers. It's definitely not a lock because one of the pitchers could have a lead or something, then the bullpen blow the lead, or they go out with a tie game or something. So a win is not 100% guaranteed, but it is pretty likely that one of them does wind up getting a win, getting you those 4 extra DK points. So I'm going to be looking to target both pitchers in the Arizona-Minnesota game. I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game, going to be a pitcher's duel, so I like going with Greinke and Berrios today as my 2 pitchers. And then for my 3 bats, after we plug in Greinke and Berrios, we're left with about 4K, so we do have some decent salary to work with. Like I said, there aren't a ton of value plays I like today, but there are a couple here and there that I definitely think you can target. But for my first play, not going to be a value play today. Actually, sort of a stud play that I really like. It's Freddie Freeman for 4,700, getting a matchup against Robert Stevenson. I think Freddie Freeman's too cheap today, given this matchup against Stevenson. Robert Stevenson, not a good pitcher, especially to lefties. So far this year, to left-handed hitters, he has allowed a 4.01 WOBA. This guy also gives up a lot of home runs to lefties, a 2.51 home run per 9 to left-handed hitters so far this year. And he also gives up a ton of hard contact to lefties, 41% medium contact and 47% hard contact. So this is such a good spot for Freddie Freeman. The Braves are going to be playing at home today in their new ballpark. That ballpark is a very good hitter's park, especially to left-handed hitters. So I think Freddie Freeman's in a really good spot here. I like his price tag at 4,700. That does seem a little bit too cheap for him given the matchup. So if you're looking at sort of a mid-range, upper-tier play at first base, I like Freddie Freeman today for 4,700. And then for my next play, we're going to be going to second base. Another mid-range play I like here, Scooter Gennett for 4K, getting a matchup against Julio Teheran. I like this spot for the Reds today, specifically their lefties. Julio Teheran is a guy that does struggle to left-handed hitters. If you look at his numbers this year to lefties, he's allowed a 340 WOBA. Teheran will also give up a lot of home runs to lefties, a 1.85 home run per 9 to left-handed hitters. And he will also give up a lot of hard and medium contact to lefties, 46% medium contact and 37% hard contact. So I do like this spot for the lefties from Cincinnati. Joey Votto, Scooter Gennett, even Jesse Winker, really like those guys. I'm not really thrilled with Billy Hamilton today because Julio Teheran is really good at holding runners on. And pretty much the main reason why you do target Hamilton is for the stolen base potential. And I don't think he does have that today. Like I said, Teheran really good at holding runners. So I think you really want the power lefties here, mainly Votto and Gennett, 2 guys that I really like today. Both of them could definitely take Teheran deep. He will give up a ton of home runs to lefties. Scooter Gennett does have power. He's already hit 20 home runs this year. and he's going to be playing in a good hitter's park today, a good hitter's park for lefties in Atlanta. So if you're looking for a mid-range play at second base, I like Gennett today for 4K. And then for my final play, going to be going to shortstop. A really cheap play I like here is Asdrubal Cabrera for just 3,400, getting a matchup against Vance Worley. I really like Asdrubal Cabrera today, just looking for a cheap punt play at shortstop. He is in a really good spot here against Vance Worley. Vance Worley is not a pitcher that you're going to be afraid of. To lefties this year, he has allowed a 357 WOBA. He hasn't really given up a lot of home runs this year, only a .34 home run per 9 to lefties, so not a lot of home runs. But he has been giving up a lot of hard contact to lefties, 44% medium contact and 42% hard contact to lefties. So I do like this spot for Asdrubal Cabrera, and I love his price tag today at just 3,400. I love that value that we're getting on him. I think if you do want to pay up for Chris Sale today, the Mets are probably going to be a team that you have to target for your bats, just because a lot of them are very cheap, and they are in a good spot against Vance Worley. Worley is not a good pitcher. He is definitely a pitcher that you can target with some bats. So I'm going to be looking to do that today with Asdrubal Cabrera for just 3,400 at shortstop. And yeah, guys, so these are my 5 plays for tonight. I went with Zack Greinke, Jose Berrios, Freddie Freeman, Gennett, and Asdrubal Cabrera. When we plug these 5 guys in our lineup, we're left with over 3,900 remaining per player, which you should be able to work around today. Like I said, if you are looking for some cheap bats, look towards the Mets. I like the Mets today if you're looking for value. I do also like the Marlins as well in that same game. There are some cheap Marlins bats. D. Gordon, Christian Yelich were 2 guys I saw that were pretty cheap. So you shouldn't have a problem building a lineup around this 5. Or if you want to get my full lineup, then be sure to follow me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. Even if you're not interested in getting lineups, like I said at the beginning of the video, I did tweet out when Max got scratched, literally the second he did. So be sure you're following me on Twitter just to stay up for updates like that. So be sure you are following me on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed. If this is your first time on my channel, please be sure to subscribe. I do upload these videos pretty much every day, so I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe. And if you never want to miss out on any videos, if you actually scroll down to where the subscribe button is, there is a little bell icon. If you click that little bell, that'll notify you every time I upload. So be sure to do that as well if you never want to miss out on any videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck tonight, guys. Peace.